YouTuber just sentenced to 4, 5, 3, 7, 6 years in prison.
This YouTube rapper made over $100 million selling virtual farm animals that apparently had a better investment strategy than half of crypto. Yeah, this is definitely one of those stories that I'm sitting here like...
Or the stock market.
How did this happen? Why did this happen? I can't believe that it happened.
What?
I just have so many questions about it. As I was researching this video, I'm sitting here like kind of in disbelief because it kind of sounds a little bit less like financial crime and more like some weird Black Mirror episode. Because the thing this guy did, he didn't rob a bank. No, he didn't hack some massive institution or company. No, he allegedly convinced over 100,000 people to invest real money into virtual cows inside of a mobile game, and he somehow turned that into one of the biggest fraud scandals in modern Turkish history. Okay,
Turkish. How much money did they make, man?
So meet Mehmet Aydin, a Turkish entrepreneur and former rapper.
Oh
yes,
my
international
god,
fugitive accused of running a massive Ponzi scheme, was also, I guess, a YouTube rapper. But Aydin reportedly uploaded rap music online under the name of Ego Man, which in hindsight might be a little bit of a subtle hint that he would have the ego to, you know, run $100 million Ponzi. But I guess
I thought it was like a couple $1,000s, maybe like $10,000. Couple million?
It's safe to say
I'm in the wrong business. What the fuck?
Just a little bit cursed.
Yo, this kind of goes hard.
That said, I would definitely trust that guy with $145 million.
This guy. Bro, this guy took fleecing people from like RuneScape or WoW or any other MMO or Diablo 2, and he took it to the next level and stepped it up into real life. Like, I don't like rewarding criminals, but like, I don't know. It takes a special person to pull this kind of shit off, to be honest. Like, yeah, he deserves to be jailed, obviously for fraud and scamming, but like, the fact that you pulled this off is insane.
You see, anything is possible in life. Apparently, this guy can steal over $100 million. And during his YouTube rap career, he was also working as a dishwasher in Bursa. So
he had the whole lineup. He worked a shitty little job. He had a rap career on YouTube.
Dude wasn't some Silicon Valley billionaire creating this cow token, to put it lightly. This was essentially a young guy in his 20s who saw an opportunity, to put it lightly. Because back in 2016, Aydin launched something called Çiftlik Bank, or Farm Bank. And honestly, it kind of looked like a Turkish version of Farmville. You had cartoon cows, chickens, and sheep. It had little farms with cutesy graphics. But the big difference is people weren't farming for fun. No, they were investing real money.
The idea
Farmville, but with actual money,
is simple. You start and manage your own
Fern, I love this guy.
Farm. You use gold as a currency to buy animals like chickens, goat, cattle, and bees.
Oh my god.
You earn cash back by selling the honey, eggs, and milk that your animals produce. You can then use the profits from these sales to buy more livestock, and so on. You can also pay real money to buy virtual gold and run your farm. And that's not just some pay-to-win model. If your farm does well and you make some proper virtual gold, you can exchange your virtual proceeds back into real money.
So the idea was users could buy virtual livestock and farming equipment inside of the app.
It's actually just pay to win Farmville. You pay to like you just pay to get your fucking levels up, man.
And according to the company, that money would actually go towards funding actual agricultural projects and livestock farms in the real world. And in return, players were promised a portion of the profits. And at the time, the pitch actually hit people from multiple angles. Turkey's agriculture sector was struggling, people wanted investment opportunities, and I guess the app looked modern and tech-driven. Then I guess the most important one, the company worked really hard to make itself look real. So it wasn't just some random mobile app sitting in an app store with fake reviews. No, Farm Bank created physical show farms people could actually visit in person. And they even opened branded stores selling products connected to the company. Honestly, my question is, how did this guy get the startup capital to do this? Because I feel like it would be quite complicated.
Well, you work yourself up. You start small and then you save up money. I mean, like, you have to start somewhere. You have to If you play an MMO fresh, you have to start with some capital and then you escalate as you get more product or more money.
To set all this up on a dishwasher salary. But regardless, because
I'm
of
not
all these
surprised.
demos, investors could walk around and physically see the animals connected to this business. Essentially, the dude LARPed as a farmer. And the scam, I guess in a way, was kind of genius, at least in the most evil way possible.
Yeah.
Because once you give someone something physical to look at, it's a lot easier to fool. And especially in
that's
crypto
true.
2016, when you have something physical tied to it and the investors can see it, it feels...
That's why I could never get behind the people that buy like the NFTs of the monkeys. I remember in Classic WoW, there was like a few people here and there in like guilds and stuff that talked about getting the monkey NFTs, and I'm like, but you can't even look at it. They're like, yeah, I can on like my computer, and I'm like, but you can't physically look at it. There's nothing better than tangibly being able to like touch a painting or touch a drawing or touch a car or something. Yeah, I always thought it was fucking dumb. Like, you can't physically hold it. It has no meaning.
Less like magic internet money and more like a real thing. Except it wasn't.
Yeah,
because the numbers
NFTs,
behind this
bro.
thing got insane very fast. Because within a year and a half, Farm Bank exploded across Turkey. And reports varied about this, but people were saying somewhere between 75,000 and 130,000 people actually invested into this. So that's crazy. And some reports were claiming there were hundreds of thousands more users just playing the game without even investing. And a whole bunch of estimates are saying it was about $131 million deposited into this. While others are saying $250 million or even $300 million in the equivalent of Turkish lira.
Chat, y'all in the wrong place, man. You should have been Turkish NFT farming.
So regardless, 130 million to 300
you got in the
million.
wrong business,
this is
chat.
one crazy heist. But of course, to get that many people involved, it kind of operated like a Ponzi to begin with, because at first people are actually getting paid. So, the new money seemed like it was paying the people who got in first. And then it just kept recycling like that. So players were reportedly saying they were earning money from their virtual livestock, which then made the whole thing feel legitimate. So people then started telling friends and family that the app actually worked. And once people started saying, no, seriously, I made money from this, people started dogpiling in. And of course, the app itself encouraged consistent reinvestment. So users weren't just like buying animals once. No, they also had to spend money on upkeep. So they had to do, supplies.
Your virtual upkeep? Oh no.
Storage and maintenance tied to the hypothetical livestock that was
It's not even real. Look, I knew people that talked about like having horses and then they had like farm hands to take care of like their horse on a farm that's like 20 minutes away, right? Like, I feel like that's pretty, but this isn't real, bro.
Tied to their money in the virtual currency. This
What
is
if you
so
didn't
crazy.
peg it-
But honestly, though, it kind of
What
sounds
if you didn't pay the upkeep? Your virtual cow dies and then they seize it.
a lot like some of these like 2021 NFT scams. Regardless, Farm Bank marketed itself as innovation, and the company promoted itself as this futuristic blend of gaming, agriculture, and investment. And it was trying to like position
Investment,
itself
gaming, poggers.
under the narrative of
Poggers in
we're
the
helping
chat.
Turkey revolutionize its farming industry. And a whole bunch of people were clearly on board because you have major Turkish TV personalities and celebrities.
Oh my god, they actually fleeced an entire country. Dude, do we have any Turkish smugglers that know about this? Turkish nationalism is pretty real though. Like, Turkish currency dropped a lot over this time period. People are desperate from 2016 to 2026 and went from 33 cents to the dollar to currently 2 cents. Yeah, but like, that doesn't mean you should get scammed.
Promoting the app publicly because Farm Bank branding started showing up in real stores and real products carried the company logo. And at one point, Mehmet Aydin was even claiming the company would help finance one of the largest dairy farm projects in Europe, which is just such a bizarre, stuff.
Turkish people are also big scammers. Yeah, but by that logic, let's say your stereotype is true. Wouldn't Turkish people be more like experienced with like experiencing scams? Like, wouldn't you know what a scam looks like or like a fraud case if you are like participating in it? I feel like if I was a commonplace from if in my country, if it happened a lot, wouldn't that make you like, you know, more prone to less susceptible? That's a good word. Maybe it's just that good of a scam, but I'm looking back at it, it's just so stupid.
You know, hey, in 2016, I can see how that almost kind of worked, or well, actually, it did kind of work for a little bit at least, because if you just put the right buzzwords around a bold enough project, it seems like you can raise some money, even though it's illegitimate. But I guess behind all the branding and hype, the cracks in the foundation were already forming, because eventually people started trying to withdraw their money, and suddenly things got weird. So by late 2017,
everybody's panic withdrawing. It's gonna crash the market.
And complaints. My
cow, it's worth nothing.
Said payments were slowing down or stopping up entirely, and this usually means that, you know, we're at the end phase. We're at the end game of the Ponzi schemes when the payments stop, or well, the start of the end game at least, because the scheme only works as long as new money's flowing in. So if people start saying, we can't get our cash out, that pretty much halts all the new money coming in. And that's when Turkish regulators started paying a lot more attention after growing complaints from users who claimed they weren't receiving profits anymore. So authorities began investigating into this company, and suddenly Farm Bank's exciting image just collapsed overnight. So after Farm Bank started to collapse, Mehmet Aydin's response to all this pushback was quite odd, to put it lightly, because instead of, like, you know, calming investors down, reports say he sold all the shares in the company and started backing away from the business.
What was the market cap? Probably infinite cows.
Right as panic was at its peak. That's kind of like the financial equivalent of you're sitting on a plane, intense turbulence hits, and suddenly you see the pilot leave the cockpit in a parachute, open the door, and jump out. Yeah, it's not.
And then you're just sitting there like, wait a minute, who's flying the airplane? Oh, nobody. And then you're panicking, and you want to sell.
Good sign. Well, then in early 2018, Farm Bank announced that it would stop accepting new users and suspended profit payments. And authorities eventually seized company assets and launched a criminal investigation into what prosecutors described as a massive fraud operation involving organized criminal activity and money laundering. And then Mehmet Aydin disappeared. He was just gone. According to reports, he fled Turkey with enormous amounts of money while thousands of investors was left essentially empty-handed. And somehow, despite being international wanted, the dude was allegedly spotted in Uruguay driving around in a Ferrari.
Easy money. I bought myself Ferrari. I'm flying around. Yeah, see ya, peace. Dude is not laying low. Yeah, I can't imagine there's a lot of Ferraris in Nicaragua.
Which is something I will never understand, because imagine—
should have gone to like Saudi Arabia or something, because at least there's like, you know, a lot of oil princes over there. That's a rookie mistake. Uruguay, that doesn't matter, Nicaragua or Uruguay. Do you think there's a lot of fucking Ferraris over there? I kind of doubt it.
You scam people for millions of dollars, and you now desperately need to lay low. Why would you ever want to drive a bright, loud car to bring as much attention as possible
hey, everybody,
to you?
Look at my Ferrari.
This genius move, Interpol got involved, because people suddenly were like, wait a minute, who's that young guy in the Ferrari here in Uruguay? We've never seen him before. So reports claim that victims became so furious that bounty posters were starting to offer hundreds of thousands of dollars for information of just about—
oh, I thought they meant his head. Oh, I thought they were like referring to like his head.
This guy. So that's not good either. So again, why are you driving around a Ferrari then? What he really should have done was the 3 years in Dagestan bit. I guess that meme didn't really exist at that time, but still, he should have just vanished. Bro could have became a real farmer in rural Mongolia. It would be pretty hard to find him then. I don't actually know. I'm talking nonsense. But in my head, it would be harder to find him if he just laid low and was like a shepherd in Mongolia. But I guess that would be a boring life for him, which, again, is why if you are in it for the money, absolutely do not scam. Why would you ever scam? Because if you're a person who are doing everything for the money—
anybody else scam in MMOs? I did it like a couple of times. I scammed someone. Oh, no, wait. No, someone scammed me out of one of my runes in Diablo 2.
You clearly want to go enjoy that money. And if you are a scammer and you suddenly have Interpol after you, you can't really spend too much of that money, especially on the flashy Instagram type stuff. But meanwhile, you have like 100,000 people essentially having to tell their families that, yeah, so I lost our life savings because we invested in a cartoon cow app. That's a rough conversation to have. But for years,
yeah, Mom, sorry.
While the stories around him just kept...
Sorry, Mom, the credit card's maxed out because I spent $20,000 on the Turkish cow app. Yeah, I really needed to, you know, get those cows fed. Oh, they're not real cows, Mom. Don't worry. They're like virtual cows. I don't have to actually take care of them. I got scanned at D2 with Enigma quilted armor swap. Man.
Stranger
that's a classic.
And some reports claim that he was hiding
that's before you could like do the tick where it's like a, you know, you check what it is and they can't swap you. I think RuneScape implemented that too in WoW.
Uruguay, and others were saying no, he was actually in Brazil. And there were even rumors involving some offshore accounts, cryptocurrency transfers, luxury properties, yachts, girlfriends, fake identities, and so on. But meanwhile, back in Turkey, the legal case just kept growing, and dozens of people connected to Farm Bank were investigated or charged. So prosecutors accused Aydin and others of running a criminal organization, fraud, and money laundering. And apparently at one...
Dude, they did... Dude, even Illidan doesn't get 75,000 years. That's... He got 10,000 years in prison.
Stage Turkish prosecutors were seeking over 75,000 years in prison for him. So they really wanted him because, you know, that you would think that would be like 74,900 years overkill. But I guess while all this was happening, Aydin was still insisting that he never intended to scam anyone. Because in videos and court statements, he repeatedly claimed that he was also a victim and argued that the business...
He was such a victim, he bought a Ferrari for himself. You're right. You're right, Aydin.
Simply collapsed after authorities froze assets and disrupted operations, which I guess is one way to frame disappearing internationally with millions of dollars. But in 2021, after more than 3 years on the run, something unexpected happened. He surrendered. Aydin walked into the Turkish consulate in Sao Paulo, Brazil, turned himself in, and days later, he was extradited back to Turkey, where he was immediately detained and brought before authorities. And the footage of him returning is like slightly surreal because this wasn't some like mysterious criminal mastermind in a suit. No, this was just some 29-year-old former rapper named Tunçuk. Did I pronounce that right? Tunçuk.
Chubby boy in Turkish. This guy knew what he was about. This guy knew what he was about.
Pronounce that right? Tunçuk. I don't know, but apparently it translates to little chubby boy. How are you going to be a rapper then go to prison and your nickname is little chubby boy? And then of course on top of that, rob 100,000 people of their life savings. He's just not setting himself up well here. But once he was in prison, Aydin started giving interviews and making statements that sounded completely disconnected from the entire situation. Because at one point, while facing tens of thousands of years in prison, he gave an interview basically talking about how comfortable prison life was. I'm not joking. He described his prison cell like someone reviewing an Airbnb. He talked about having a TV, tea, coffee, wardrobes, regular meals, and even preferred...
Yo, is Turkish prison actually not that bad, or is he just being, like, funny? Is he being funny or what? I kind of want to look it up. Is Turkish prison really bad? Widely documented of overcrowding, systemic human rights, and poor living standards. Wait, so he's just taking the piss out of it. That's funny. Jesus.
Turkish prison over Turkish student dorm rooms, which they gotta fix that if that's true.
Yeah,
and in quote, he said the prison meals were 1,000 times better. So
this kid knows, he knows ball, man.
Again, if that's true, they absolutely have to fix that. Like, come on, we can't be
incentivizing
prison over studying. That can't be good. But imagine being the victim here. You were fooled because you invested in some virtual cows, and now the guy who sold you the virtual cows is now on TV saying, honestly, the prison food's pretty good. That would not be an ideal predicament to be in. But then on top of that, he said, if he could go back in time, he would do it all again without any mistakes. So instead of, oh, I regret hurting people, he was like, I should have made sure the scheme could have gone on for longer. I don't know. But
Should
then
have
you have one of the
scammed more
more
people.
interesting legal
Yeah.
defenses I've heard, because authorities charged him for his use of the word bank because he called his company Farm Bank. And that wasn't licensed as an actual bank. So Aydin's defense was basically like, well, the word bank can also mean a park bench. I don't know where he's going with that. And no, I'm not making that up. He reportedly argued that maybe he meant a literal bench and people just misunderstood him. Meanwhile, prosecutors kept building the case against him, and the numbers attached
I don't know, man. Let him free. Let him free.
the scandal just became more and more ridiculous.
Free my
because
boy, chubby
thousands
boy.
of plaintiffs were
Chubby
named
little
in
boy.
this, and authorities claimed that hundreds of millions of lira had flowed through his operation. Investigators also accused him of transferring huge amounts of money into personal and offshore accounts. And at one stage, reports said that Turkish prosecutors wanted more than 88,000 years in prison for Mehmet.
What are we tacking these on for? Why not just call it life in prison?
88,000 years in prison. How is that worse from the 75,000 years in prison? There's no difference between 88,000 years and 75,000 years. Well, yeah, I guess they're just really stacking them on now. But
honestly, this just makes him look like a fucking super villain. I love it. 75,000 years.
After
in
years
prison
of
for
hearings,
10,000
investigations, extraditions, and
years.
international headlines, the court finally made its decision. In February 2025, a Turkish court officially sentenced Mehmet Aydin and his brother, Fatih Aydin, to 45,376 years and 6 months in prison. They really had to tack on the 6 months there. So there's a lesson here. Don't sell virtual cows claiming that you're a bank and that it's actual real money. Overall, massive skill issue.
I want to be Illidan Stormrage and be imprisoned for 75,000 years. I'm in the wrong fucking business, bro. This guy could have had it all. What if he's a lich? Yeah, maybe he is. Yep. Who knew the biggest villain in Turkish history would be a YouTube rapper? Yeah, and his name is Chubby Boy as well. Free my boy, a Chubby Boy. Lil Chubby Boy. Yeah. Little Chubby is so strong. Hey, what did I miss? This YouTube Turkish rapper scammed a bunch of people out of money, and now he's going to prison for 40,000 years. I wish I was kidding. And his name is Little Chubby Boy. Yep. I posted a SmugAlana reaction GIF Discord, and one of my friends called her a stinky chud. Strong. But are they wrong? Are they wrong? That's the real question. Chud Fox? Yeah, exactly. I don't know, I think your friend knows what they're talking about, right? Stinky shell. She does self-defecate. Shut up! Self-deprecate! I couldn't say the word in the moment. I don't know why. I swear, I was like self-deprecate. I know the word, but then I couldn't say it. I don't know why. I was like having like some sort of like mental aneurysm. I don't know why. It was funny. Anyway, go check out the video, Mr. Atozy.